Hey guys, today's video I thought I'd discuss why I believe that the Nintendo Switch here is one of Nintendo's best and worst consoles of all time. So I recommend you get a drink for this because it's going to be a long discussion here. So let's talk about it. The Switch is definitely an interesting system for Nintendo's history, especially looking back at before when it came out. Because for those who still remember the Wii U era, that the Wii U, one of the Nintendo's worst performing console aside from the Virtual Boy, of course, that when it came to like the end of its lifespan, it was when Nintendo really started to get into, say, like a desperate position to where they really wanted like people to come to their platforms again, hence why that they've became like friendly with indie developers starting around like late 2015, then onward is when they started becoming friendly to developers and stuff. And when they revealed the Switch, they made sure that they were like friendly to consumers, aware like they dropped region locking for this thing. They made sure that they had a killer title on launch day to where it where you would have like a big reason that you would want to pick up this system on launch day, of course. And I still remember when I did pick this up on launch day. It was March 3rd, 2017. That believe it or not, I went to a Miiverse that day to pick up this model right here that you see here. This is a launch unit that still has not had any problems. For me, this still works perfectly fine. The Joy-Cons are not launch models. The original ones are right here. Because I just put the red ones on because whoops, I almost dropped that. So I put the red ones on there because they just looked better on there, even though I never played the Switch portably. But yeah, once the Switch came out, they had, Breath of the Wild. That was a very good launch title. Then throughout the year, they ported over their biggest hits from the Wii U onto the Switch, so that way a lot more people could play them, like Mario Kart 8 at the time. And their next big title, Super Mario Odyssey, which to me I much liked that game more than Breath of the Wild at that time. Then throughout 2018, they still released more killer hits that was on the Wii U that needed like another chance on the Switch, so that way it has an install base that is much bigger and the system's actually successful. And eventually they released what I do believe is like one of the best games or things that Nintendo's ever made, which was Smash Bros. Ultimate. That game, I remember I got on launch day. I played it constantly with my friends, and just throughout the years till now, all the new characters that they brought out, with a few exceptions, were like hit or miss. The overall support they did for that game was just, to me, amazing. And the fact that game exists with how many characters you can play in it, it's like a dream game to me, honestly. With the amount of like characters that are in this game is a huge crossover and all that. So yeah, this system definitely has like good memories for like the killer hits that it's had that are exclusive to the platforms, that are like brand new games for the most part. And the big feature of the Switch, and that what was a thing that sold me on the system as well as like almost everybody else, is these same games that you can play on your TV. Just take the system out and play the game, the same exact game, anywhere you go, and that was a big selling feature to me, and that told me, so like all these exclusive Nintendo games, as well as some like indie games that feel really at home on this system here, that I also like played on PC for some other titles. I can take this with me wherever I go and play the same exact games and all that. So that was a big selling point for me, and still to this day, that still holds true and everything, until later this December, for me at least. So yeah, not knocking the Switch for those successes, especially how much it keeps selling every single month. That it's possible that it will like outsell every single system Nintendo has ever made, possibly. Debatably for like the DS numbers and all that, if we'll ever get to that, but the numbers don't lie for like how much this system sells and all that. That people really love this system overall. But I do feel like in recent years this has definitely changed. That I'll discuss why. The Switch has taken a turn, or I really should say Nintendo themselves have really taken a turn for the worst, as for like the company as a whole, that has affected the Switch in some regards. And that basically stems down to them really getting caught up in the success they're having with their system right now because of how much it sells. And the fact that they can get away with almost anything they can do, and people are just going to end up buying it because they think people will just take it just like that. And I'll discuss some of those things. So we all know the Switch's online is god-awful. Do you remember, like, the first year the system was out, Splatoon 2? I picked that game up on launch day. Lots and lots of fun that was. Still like a unique, competitive shooter game to this day. That it was nice. That game was free to play for a little bit until the Switch Online came out. That when you had to start paying for it, nothing changed with Splatoon 2. No new content came out. They haven't added new features aside from like the free updates the game has gotten. But nothing was changed when we suddenly had to start paying for this game that we already were playing for free online. So it's definitely a huge red flag for a lot of people. That I'm surprised I didn't get much backlash back then, but now definitely is for all other stuff surrounding the Switch Online. But the fact that suddenly you have to start like paying this service for games that you already were playing for free, and that nothing has changed with it, has definitely rubbed me the wrong way, and hence why like I stopped playing Splatoon 2 since they introduced Switch Online, because nothing has changed, and now you're telling me I suddenly have to pay another $20 or whatever to play a game that I already paid for $60 for the rights to keep doing what I was already doing with it originally. So whatever, it is what it is. And for the Switch's Online, even today, it has not improved at all. The quality of their internet infrastructure, the features you get with it, which are just basic features that the competitors, Sony, Microsoft, they offer for free, and in better cases is a better quality service that's more stable. And they also give you free, relatively modern games every single month too. The Switch, yes, it has the NES, SNES libraries for its standard subscription model. It doesn't change the fact that these are really old games, and that they have been re-released countless times throughout the years, that with every new version, the value of these games have definitely diminished compared to Sony, Microsoft. The free games that you give with PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold, they're all relatively recent releases for the most part. There have been some cases where it would be a brand new game that came out launch day for free on like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Gold. I know Rocket League was like that. That's one of the big reasons that game just blew up the way it did, because on top of it being like a unique game, it was also free for a lot of people that month when it came out. It should be noted that comparing Nintendo to the competition with Sony, Microsoft on their online service, you don't even need to do that to compare like the quality of it. Look back at the Wii U era. They had Miiverse. If you remember, Miiverse was like this. It was a really nice, like a forum community, like its own social media platform that was exclusive to the Wii U. There, people could share posts of like drawings or just chat with others online. And they, for that, you could also share stuff on like games that you were playing and all that. If like people were having issues with it, you could share it with others to help them out and everything. And there were also games that surprisingly, you could do voice chat in the game itself, and you did not need a smartphone to chat with your friends. So why is it that when you have something like Miiverse and you're like chatting with others online for free, that they can't implement anything like that in the Switch? The fact that Nintendo's worst performing console had a way better online infrastructure when it came to communicating with people online really blows my mind right there, that it's not even necessary to compare them to how Sony and Microsoft handle their own chat features for chatting with people online and all that, because Nintendo themselves did it way better before the Switch. Once again, just blows my mind. They think that this whole app thing was like a good idea to do when they already knew how to do it on the Wii U, but they couldn't do it for the Switch. So yeah, the overall like value that, if you want to argue with Switch Online, is just not feasible at all when you compare it to the competition, honestly. And don't even get me started on the expansion pass at all. It's more than double the cost of the standard subscription, and you mean to tell me that you're not even giving me like the same amount of features of the standard one, that this is already like more money that you're paying for? You're not getting the same amount of content or amount of services with it. And also the N64 catalog, some games on there are worst versions compared to the original releases for them, and even say like the previous virtual console versions on like the Wii U, or even just emulating the game and all that, or better yet, just an original copy of it on the N64. There's input lag for some of the games, very noticeable input lag for some of them. Playing online with them, unplayable. Mario Kart 8 and Star Fox 64, of what I've seen, where it has these not just audio but just frame issues to where the games are just straight up unplayable, as if you're playing on dial-up internet, where like one person be in the US and the other is like all the way in Japan or India, whatever. It's like that bad if you guys like haven't seen videos of it. And just there's also like features in some of those games that you can't use because of the way that they implemented like the controls and that they for like the official N64 controllers you can't add in like certain packs, so that way you can use certain aspects of the game. So that alone makes them objectively the worst versions of them. And you have the gall, Nintendo, to just start charging more than double the price of Switch Online, which already was a terrible service to begin with. And we get this, the quality of those games that we can like bring in people that have made emulators for, you know, the N64, and just make them infinitely better, make the games run a lot better for free. In fact, people would just, they would even like take like pennies for like getting it to work better than you do. And yet, you're a billion-dollar company, and you can't make a quality emulator for these games that were released in the mid-late 90s. Embarrassing. And plus the Animal Crossing like DLC thing, it's like that's not going to appeal to a lot of people there, because personally I don't play Animal Crossing, so that makes it less valuable and all that. And Genesis games, like they're Genesis games, but it's still not enough value nonetheless. So bottom line is, the way that they've just handled Switch Online since its inception has never been good. It has never ever improved, and they just refuse to make it better and just force people to pay up more money to get features that just should have been improved in the long run here, but still not the case at all. And also another thing is Nintendo's attitude with their fan base. We remember like years ago, it was like earlier in the Wii U's lifespan, where they were just, you know, I think it was like they were claiming videos that would be talking about their games, that they would take like revenue from YouTubers and some live streamers because they were covering their content, when in return it was free advertisement for them, that they just refused to understand that mentality. And then they later did drop like their partner program and everything to let people actually share their content, so that way in return they get more sales for their games, because more people are seeing their stuff, that it entices them to like want to buy, because they realize, hey, this game looks fun and everything, I'm gonna go buy it and everything. And then but that attitude that they had during that partner program seems to have returned now in recent years. They're not like, for the most part, they're not claiming people's videos are covering Nintendo content, but the way that they they respect their community, and for like big events that doesn't harm them at all. In fact, in return, it really helps them, but they feel the need to like shut down whatever like big event would be coming up, as say like certain Smash tournaments, or of like the many stories you've heard of like fan games and all that. Fan games and like ROM hacks and all that encourages people to try out their other games. Say, you know, for like Smash Bros, you know, the big story last year of that they shut down that Melee tournament for, they were using a version that allowed online play for Melee, because, you know, last year during pandemic, you know, we don't want to have a lot of people all in one whole place. So to make up for that, the community came up, well, how about I make a online version of Melee, so that way we don't have to risk our lives to do these tournaments and all that. But Nintendo still felt the need to shut it down, though, because they were worried that they were using illegal copies of it, even though they don't see any revenue out of Melee anymore, at least until if they do like a re-release of it, then okay, fair enough. But even if people like use that, I'm sure like they've already bought Smash Ultimate here, because their reason for like why they go after for like projects like that, or fan-made games, ROM hacks and all that, is because they're worried that it will affect their current sales of their current titles and all that. But I don't see that being the case, because people that play those games for like ROM hacks and stuff are already people that have like played the original games already, and have definitely played the newest releases, because they are big fans of those games, hence why they're going out of their way to find another version of it to experience in a different way. So in a sense, if someone is, they're like not sure if they want to pay money for their newest game right now, they want to try out this one version that was fan-made, that is still very close to the original experience, that if they really liked it, then they're happy and they will go out and buy the newest game from them. Something they refuse to understand, but whatever. Another thing that has really hurt the Switch for me is why like it's for like a big selling factor for it of that made people like really like want the system, is because the Steam Deck exists now. Now the Steam Deck to me is a whole replacement for the Switch now. I don't see a reason to keep buying games for this thing anymore, except for first-party Nintendo games, though, and certain third-party games that are exclusive to them. If they have like a physical version of them, like I'll still keep those or like buy those. I'm sorry, but yeah, the Steam Deck though, I know for a lot of people that for some people that own a Switch, they mainly are PC gamers, but they do have a Switch though, so they could have play the same games they did on their PC on the go, or so they could also play like the Nintendo titles and all that. Well, that has changed now with the Steam Deck, because all the games that they wanted to play on the go on their PC, they can now do it on the Steam Deck. And it's a much better piece of hardware at the end of the day too, that for some people it is the Switch Pro that they've wanted all along. That the only reason that I can see why you'd want to Switch nowadays if you're not into PC gaming, if you are into PC gaming, I'm sorry, is you just want like the Nintendo titles. That's it. If you're not into PC gaming, then hey, you still have the same reason as like why the Switch was so appealing when it first came out and all that, of course. But for me, the whole reason of me like taking the system to wherever I go and play like any of these games here, no matter where I'm at, that has completely died out now thanks to the Steam Deck, which I do have the 512 gigabyte model pre-ordered that I will cover on this channel here, so you guys can see stuff on that off top of like everyone else that will do it. Another thing that has really just rubbed me the wrong way with the Switch now is their refusal to improve anything with the hardware, despite of all the backlash that they have gotten. Why is it that these things here, that they have suffered through lawsuits on this, countless reports of people complaining of drifting issues with these, and that it still exists on the Switch OLED? 4 years later, we're still dealing with this issue, which for me, I've never dealt with Joy-Con drifting issues. It's probably like a miracle that I still haven't. But then again, I never use the Joy-Cons because honestly, I hate these things so much. But you would think that even after a lawsuit, they would fix these. But no, they still haven't. These are still overpriced pieces of garbage that have very common drifting issues, and they shove gimmicks in them that they never use. The gimmicks such as like these right here with the infrared sensor, that when have they ever used this? Seriously, when have they ever used it? Even for their first party titles, when have they used this thing here? Nothing. You can't tell me like any game that I'm aware of that instantly comes to mind. Maybe WarioWare, the newest one, have done something with this here. I'm just throwing that out there. I haven't played the game yet. I really want to, but I haven't yet. But as far as I know, they haven't utilized like this thing as well as like any other unique things with these Joy-Cons here. The HD Rumble, when has that been like a big selling factor for certain games here? If you ask me, the DualSense controller, the PS5, did exactly what these wanted to with the whole rumble feature here, that it feels much more realistic and gets you more immersed in it. So yeah, the fact that this issue even still exists in the Switch Lite here, and if that happens, you can't replace that because it's all in the same unit. Blows my mind that this issue is still a thing. I feel horrible for all the people that have suffered Joy-Con drifting issues countless times, that I feel like holy in a way that I have never experienced it at all, honestly. But yeah, these things, pieces of trash, absolute trash they are. By the way, those do work, and I don't care if they're broken right now, because that's how much I care. But yeah, man, the Switch, man, it was really, really good when it first came out for its first few years and all that. But man, though, I just the attitude that Nintendo has now with the direction they want to go with this system here, that this system, like, now to me is nothing but a port haven system nowadays. Like, how often do they come out with original content for this system? Almost never. It has felt like 2 straight years we have not gotten like much original games for this system until now, with games like Metroid Dread, WarioWare, and eventually, well, it's not original, but it still looks good, the Pokemon 4th gen remakes coming out pretty soon here, that I am looking forward to those, because that'll be the first time I ever played those, that generation of Pokemon games. But yeah, a lot has changed now for the company as a whole, that they're getting to that point where Sony was with the PS3 when it was first coming out, and Microsoft when they were going to put all the DRM crap in the Xbox One before it came out. Then everyone just called them out on it, and they reversed that. Because those companies, they were very successful at those times, that they let it get to their heads. And they did like revert to their decisions for some things, and that they became more friendly to their customer base, and it was all for the better. Nintendo was in that position where, you know, late in the Wii U's life, they were desperate to just be relevant in the market once again. And they did like own up to it. They came out with a system that was nothing like any other platform out there. Came out with original content for its first few years, but now that the Switch is successful as it is just put Nintendo in a position where they feel like they can do no wrong now, and that's not right at all. For all the issues I discussed here with how they've been throughout the majority of its lifespan has rubbed me the wrong way, that as a result, all these games right here, I'm getting rid of pretty soon. These are all games that are like third-party titles that you can get on other platforms, but I don't want them anymore. I refuse to keep supporting this system here that's not a first-party Nintendo title, because like Metroid Dread, I desperately wanted to play. But yeah, all these games here, they're going to be gone, because I am done supporting Nintendo with the direction that the company is going from here on out. But yeah, I'll like discuss through some of these titles here, like why I'm getting rid of them. But there are some that I am keeping. Like all the games like you see right here, these are all first-party titles. Here's like I'm keeping these obviously because I can only play them on the Switch here officially. But these ones right here, these are third-party titles that have like a unique story, like why I'm keeping them. Cave Story Plus. Cave Story is my favorite indie game ever. It is also like the one game that really is inspiring me to like one day create my own video game, for like how awesome this game is as a Metroidvania games. Like I absolutely love this game. That whatever new version comes out for, it's like I pick it up instantly. This is the best version of the game, and there is no other physical version of this particular version of Cave Story. There have been multiple different versions of the game throughout its existence, but yeah, this is definitely one that I am keeping for the system. Resident Evil Revelations Collection, this is a weird one that I'm keeping, but I do have a personal goal where every single Resident Evil games, like I want to have physical copies of every single Resident Evil game out there. I absolutely love this series so much. It's one of my favorite game series out there, that I want to own like every physical version of the whole franchise, hopefully one day, and this does include that. Last one is Am Satsune. This is a weird title. This came out like the first few months of the system's lifespan. This is it's a Japanese import game here, and I know this game does exist physically on the PS4, but it's only like a Korean, Asian version that I've seen. This is the only one where it has another slipcover that comes with it, that it has like the English font on it, and even if you plug this into like an American Switch, it defaults it to the North American version here. So pretty like a unique title here for the collection here, that this seems to be like the only version that no matter which region you're in, it'll like always default to like what your region is for its language and everything. So yeah, these ones definitely keeping though, because they don't really exist on like any other platforms in this matter here. The rest of these games here, though, as like I said earlier, these ones I'm getting rid of because I just don't want to support this system anymore. But first title here, it's Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. There is a newer version of this game coming out for like all platforms. It's called Binding of Isaac Repentance, I think it's called. So that makes like this like copy of it like less relevant, because it's going to have new content in it. So yeah, that's mainly why I'm getting rid of it. Super Bomberman R. I've only got this because it was in like a clearance bin in Walmart one of these days. I was just walking by and just saw that it was in there. It's like, sure, I'll pick it up for like dirt cheap. It was like nothing for this. And this was like a launch title for the Switch back then. And this game does exist on other platforms too nowadays. Dragon Quest Builders. This game does exist on other platforms. It even exists on the Vita if you still want like a portable version of it, though it is like a Japanese exclusive version of the game. But this game still exists on other platforms too, that you have other ways to play it. This is surprisingly fairly expensive game now. It almost costs as much as a brand new game still, despite its age. So I look forward to seeing what I can get out of that. Rocket League. My opinion of Rocket League has changed over the years. Originally, when it came out, it was a lot of fun. There was no other like sports game like it that I picked up the game because like I was still like somewhat into it back then. But now that the game is owned by Epic Games, the game has went to like directions that I am not a fan of at all, honestly. So yeah, I don't care for that version at all. Crash Insane Trilogy. I already have this game on the PS4 and I have it on Steam as well. So if I like want to play this game portably, it's like I got a Steam Deck coming in that I'd much rather play it that way. Doom 2016. This game was really mind-blowing. The fact that they got it to run natively on the Switch back then. Still doesn't change that this game still is not a good version, though. I can barely play this game here because of its low frame rate, how blurry the game is. I can barely see what's going on most of the time. So yeah, I only picked this up because like I'm a big Doom fan and all that, but yeah, I just wanted to pick that up because like the novelty, the fact that they got the game like Doom 2016 running on the Switch was mind-blowing. But nowadays it's like whatever, it's still not a good version. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I originally picked this up because at the time when it came out, I was going on like a vacation with the family, but I really wanted to play this game though at the time, so hence why that I got it so I could play it on the go basically, because there was no other way to do that now. In hindsight, that really sucked though, because this game was a bad version of the game back then. Frame rate issues galore. Like, there was a lot of technical issues with it that they did fix in a patch though much later on down the road. But again, now that I do have it on Steam though on PC, that once again when the Steam Deck comes out, I'd much rather be playing it that way instead of that. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. I honestly don't remember why I got this. Probably the fact that it's like it was Rayman, and I thought this version would have like more content in it, but it's like no, it doesn't have anything that's worth having on there. Mega Man 11. I already have this on like other platforms that when I have a Steam Deck coming in, I'd much rather play it that way. Ultra Street Fighter 2, whatever, Challengers Edition here of like the 50th version of this game. The reason I got this back then was to support Capcom, to let them know is like please bring more content to the Switch, because at the time it was definitely a good platform. That was their main reason of like releasing this, is to see how well it would do when it came out, to see like if this sells, like okay, the Switch is a relevant platform to make games on, so we'll continue to put our games on it, like Mega Man and Resident Evil there. This game though, right here, this copy, it's like fairly expensive still. Like it's similar to a Dragon Quest Builders right there. It's like still like almost the cost of like a brand new game. I don't know why. It's just Street Fighter 2. There's so many different versions out there that you can play besides that one, but hey, people are paying the prices for whatever. So next one is Robotics Notes double pack. Really wish I got this for the PS4, honestly. It is sealed still. That I plan on like selling this, and then I'm gonna like get a PS4 replacement for this. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. main reason I got this is I wanted to support CD Projekt at the time, because at that time we thought they were, you know, a good company to us, that they were always for consumers, and they even put like thank you notes in this version here because it's got like other stuff in it besides a copy of the game. And the fact that they got the, you know, the full game as well as like the 2 expansions they released for it all in one cartridge, like that says a lot, honestly. That the fact that they could get the full game like that, and that really goes to question many other developers, like even for Revelations Collection. Why is like the first game on here, but the rest of it is only a download code? In fact, that's another reason why like I don't want to support this system, is because like developers, a lot of them are just lazy with this system here. So like, why is it that for like Kingdom Hearts recently announced, why is it cloud? Why are they cloud versions? They're PS2 games. You can't get those to run natively on a Switch, but this can, with all of its expansions. Well, whatever. It is what it is. Crypt of the Necro Dancer. I don't know why I got this. I think I mainly just wanted like a physical copy of this indie game here, so another thing I don't know why I got. Last one, Hyper Light Drifter Special Edition. This, I think it was like the only physical version of it you could get for a while. You can get this, a physical of it on PS4. That I Am 8-Bit did release a physical version of it, but now it's kind of expensive because, you know, it's out of stock right now. They don't plan on making a new one. Maybe it might be a different release of it with more stuff in it, but who knows. But yeah, I mainly want to get kind of similar with Crypt of the Necro Dancer, is I wanted like a physical version of this indie game right here. So yeah, those are all the games that all these here are going to be gone, with the exception of these here. These are like rare instances that I'll like keep these because of reasons and all that. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the system. Now, why I think it's definitely one of Nintendo's better systems they've had. Definitely the best one they've had in a long time, for sure. But it also has just stirred them in a direction that I don't want them to go down on. That I hope it all changes with all this backlash that they've been getting in recent years for this system. But the only thing that changes, if you people stop supporting them, stop giving them money for their like anti-consumer online stuff, and just like speak with your wallet and just keep talking on social media. It's the only thing you can get them to change. And I'll leave off with this. With the current state of the Switch, with putting aside, you know, their first party games, I would much rather play this over these. You can give me the same like libraries that they, the vast library that the Switch has compared to like the limited one the Vita had here. I still much rather have this than playing on this right here. Just to let you know like how much I care about it. So that'll be it for this video. Appreciate if you rate it, share it with your friends, comment below your thoughts on the Switch, why you think I could be dead wrong on all this stuff here. Try to keep it civil though, please. But do subscribe for more content like this in the future. Till then, guys, see you next time.